In this video, we're going to be taking a look at one of the most useless, underperforming stratagems in the entire game of Helldivers 2. Basically, we're looking at the disgraced sibling of the family that turned into a drug addict, and everyone's trying to help it, but it knows how useless it is, and it just doesn't want to see the light of day, and it stays away in its little hidey hole. We're looking at the Eagle Strafing Run. I know. I'm sorry to everybody. Whenever I say that stratagem name, it's basically like saying Voldemort. He who shall not be named, pretty much. It's the worst Eagle stratagem. I guess that's the better way to put it. But it is if it was put in a tier list, it would be in the section of not even worth mentioning. Like it is I know I'm going on how bad it is, but it's so bad. I had to make my lobby private so that I would save myself the embarrassment of using it in a public match and not face any scrutiny my teammates would say to me in a public lobby. So yeah, it's bad, and I just really think it needs some sort of buff, because when you think about it, like, this is supposed to be this stratagem is supposed to be replicating a jet laying down just 30mm rounds at a Mach speed that we can't even like think of right now. It's supposed to emulate an A10 Warthog laying just absolute hell on whoever's on the ground. Because whenever I want to use this, like, I think to myself, like, I think of Eagle 1 just saying, "Coming in hot," and then all of a sudden it's just, you know, there is like a few key things, I guess, that I've noticed about this stratagem. Basically, this stratagem, like, I'll say this right now, it can break armor, at least on chargers, or at least normal chargers, because I've gotten kills with it, but that was like so obscure. It happened like once that I can think off the top of my head. Okay, going back at the recording, one thing I forgot to mention about the strafe run, the initial burst of where the actual strafing run like initially hits the ground is like a strong impact, and then everything that follows is just kind of weaker, if that makes sense. So that initial burst, super strong, and then the damage kind of tails off pretty much. So it kind of falls off as the burst goes on. And don't even get me started on like it hurting the Bile Titans. It does nothing. It basically just tickled his underbelly and said good boy, and he just smacked him on the butt and he kept on going pretty much. Like, it said good game, get after it. Like, but with chargers, I've seen it actually like damage the armor, or at least like I've seen it break off sections of the armor on a charger, at least a normal charger. Yeah, it does something, and sure, it clears out, tiny targets, but it's just not enough, especially when there are things that I know that are like 10 times better, And I guess like the way I think of this stratagem is it's like more like a simplistic version of a walking barrage, I guess. So like you get it a lot faster and stuff, and it's like an Eagle version of it instead of it being like a full-on barrage. But it still presents like the same opportunities of you like pushing through a line to, like keep moving forward almost, So like clearing a lane so you can pull like a blitzkrieg or whatever, I don't know how to describe it. I just know for a fact that it needs a buff, either whether or not it's like a little bit more explosive, it lasts a lot longer, or maybe like instead of just going in a straight line, it's in a wider line first off. And also the damage is more consistent instead of it's really inconsistent, because there was one time that I made a charger have its armor break in 2 strafing runs, and then another charger it took like 3 or 4 pretty much, and it was insane. I don't know, I think they really should take the example of the Gal 8 Avenger gun and kind of use that as like the idea of how the strafing run should operate pretty much, because what it is now is it's nothing. Like, no one even looks at it. It's like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. No one wants to look at it or even like say its name. It's that bad. Like, I don't know how to keep going on with it. It's just one stratagem that I know for a fact needs a buff. I don't know what that buff would be exactly, but it needs something. I want this stratagem to be more talked about, I guess, or like more utilized. But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it. I think that's the Eagle Strafing Run is definitely one I can think off the top of my head that I know for a fact needs a buff of some sort. But yeah, anyways, just tell me what you think. I think this should be more of like a A10 Warthog. Feel free to leave a like, subscribe.